What is going on today, everyone? So we had a rough week in the stock market yet again. I think this is the third or fourth week in a row where there's been a significant amount of pain. But today we also saw a lot of quantum stocks do well. And it's interesting to me because we have some upcoming catalysts. There was some optimism and positivity in the market today. In fact, all of the major indexes ended in the green, even if only by a little bit. And we did see quantum stocks do really well. In fact, stocks we've recently covered on this channel. So if you're interested in content like this, please consider liking and subscribing. So today we're going to look at Rigetti, SEALSQ, Big Bear AI, and a few other quantum stocks that did well today. We've got a lot going on in today's video. We're going to cover a number of tickers for quantum stocks. We're also going to look at the sell-off after Big Bear AI earnings. And without further ado, let's just jump right in. All right, everyone. So we're going to cover a lot of stocks today. First, let's just take a look at the stock heat map. It was kind of a mixed bag. I call this a Christmas day, red and green. And some stocks were down, some stocks were up. Actually, you see even within sectors that there were mixed results. So we know that AVGO posted great earnings and helped lift the electronic and semi. We saw Amazon down. We saw Google make a little bit of a comeback today, and it just a mixed bag. So Rigetti was up almost 10%, and this is the second day in a row. And it had a pretty strong chart all day. We also had SEALSQ, LAES, up 9.3%. Another stock I covered yesterday on the channel had a nice day. IBM, a pretty dang large move for IBM, a 5% gain in a single day. And then we saw a few other stocks like Google and IONQ and in the green. All right, so SEALSQ price action. So we see that after hours, it is still going up. I want to look at the last 5 days and I want to measure this move. So from the bottom on Tuesday to its current position now, we've seen a 44% move with some pretty good structure and price action. So we open today and there's a little bit of sell-off to open the day. We get down to 255 and then we see some choppiness through the day and then we have a nice rally intraday. And we hold a steady uptrend and we can see even in aftermarket, SEALSQ continues to build. Let's zoom out just a little bit so we can kind of see this trend that's starting to form. At one point, LAES, SEALSQ Corporation, was selling at $10 a share. And this was during the initial run up after Google Willow was announced. Then we have the Fed sell-off over here, a little bit of a recovery. Then we have the panic selling after Jensen's comments. And then we've just had a lot of chop and rough seas in the market in general. And that's really hurt the smaller cap stocks and pushed them down. But we had in the last few days some pretty promising price actions. It looks like a trend reversal is certainly in play here. So if you aren't already, keep SEALSQ LAES on your radar. Let's jump right into Rigetti. So Rigetti has been surprising this week. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. After seeing the earnings, I was expecting some sell-off, but instead we've got the opposite. And I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I don't know really what to make of it. As I've said on this channel a number of times, I'm long in all of these quantum stocks, so I don't really mind if they go on discount because that means I get to build a bigger position. But we see that yesterday after earnings and the earnings miss, they sell off pretty sharply. And then there was this 20% move. We measured it yesterday. We're going to look at it again. So if we look at the post earnings move to the end of today, we've seen a 32% run in Rigetti in just 2 days. So moving quite aggressively. And we can see also that volume has come back to Rigetti for a few days. Recently, volume hasn't quite been with Rigetti. If we zoom out, which is always important, let's look at the larger trend. So we're going to see similar trends when we look at the 3-month as we look at these quantum stocks. It's interesting how some of this stuff manifests in the chart, and it serves as really an indicator of investor sentiment and market conditions. So we see the initial run with great structure up to the highs where Rigetti touched $21. Then shortly after, we see the gap down on Jensen's comments. We see that it touches $6. But Rigetti's been a bit of a stubborn one. I know there's a lot of people that are out there. I see their comments all the time that are short on Rigetti. The thing is that Rigetti, unlike some other quantum stocks, has never even come close to its quantum crash level. So there was only really a short period of time where Rigetti could be purchased in the $6 and $5 range after the Willow rally. It did want to chop around, so there's been lots of choppiness and kind of sideways action. The market has been pretty oppressive to any small cap, mid cap, even large cap stocks. So the market's been really bad for the last few weeks. And now we're seeing what could be a potential trend reversal. And I'd love to hear in the comments from you all what reasoning you think, because Rigetti did miss on earnings and I did expect some sell-off. So I'd love to hear if there's any opinions out there on why we're seeing this reversal with pretty good structure and also a good amount of volume. My guess is that the investors are looking at what the CEO said in the investor meeting. My guess is investors are looking at what the CEO said in the earnings call, and they like where the company is going long-term, and they're pricing in the long-term potential of Rigetti and their business plan and roadmap. All right, let's take a look at IBM. So I mentioned a few times on the channel, one of my dad's first jobs when he was younger in the late 80s, early 90s was working for IBM. So IBM's been around for a long time. And if some of you don't know, if you're new to the channel, IBM has a pretty significant quantum effort and roadmap. We can see that by just hopping over to IBM Quantum Roadmap. They've got a pretty nice website that lays out their plan for quantum computing and their goals and benchmarks, and they seem to be doing really well. So today we saw a 5% gain, which seems to be a very strong trend reversal from the last, we'd have to go back all the way to Tuesday, February 25th, where we last saw these current price levels. And if we zoom out even more, this seems to be an area where, so we had IBM gap up on earnings. Investors really liked what they saw. And IBM has held a strong channel. If we want to just draw let's just draw a parallel channel here so we can kind of see that there's been some sideways action. But at this point in time, this would indicate a pretty strong reversal and potentially a move upwards breaking out of this channel, as it looks like it's rejecting pretty hard off the bottom here of this move post earnings. So keep IBM on your radar to the upside. All right, IONQ, poor IONQ has been beat up the last couple months, it really feels like. IONQ is a company that has seen their stock price fall under the quantum crash price. So we see that there was earnings recently. Investors weren't excited for earnings, weren't excited about what was in earnings, and it sold off to this $20 price point. If we look at the price action from today, we see a modest gain, and there's not enough here from a technical level to indicate strongly that there is a reversal happening here. But just to put this in perspective, a month ago, 2 months ago, I was pretty excited to be buying IONQ even at these levels. So the opportunity to build a position in IONQ, so if we zoom out here, right, we go all the way back to November. IONQ was already an established quantum company before we had Willow, right? So people were already investing in the name. They were already in a strong, steady uptrend. And the propulsion of Google Willow really launched IONQ to potentially an unsustainable level. We see that the quantum crash really took IONQ down, but IONQ was one of the first stocks to recover back into this channel, and they really have been beaten up lately. So there's one of two ways of looking at this. Way number one is, IONQ is a bad company. I don't want to touch IONQ. Way number two is, oh my gosh, I can pick up IONQ for pre-Google Willow prices. Remember, IONQ got to this level pretty much on its own with no news catalyst from Google Willow, and then started its rally last year. So does this look like a potential good entry point? To me, it looks like a great entry point. You'll need to do your own research, and we'll be watching IONQ closely for a potential reversal. All right, Big Bear AI, one of my favorite irrational loves in the stock market. I don't know why, but I have since, if we go back 6 months, I was buying and talking about Big Bear all the way back here in November. And it's been super fun to see Big Bear build a structure and lower high or higher lows. And if we look at the trend, today so prior to earnings, we had a steady upward trend. Now, if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that today we squarely broke under that upward trend. Now, we had this crazy run of 162% not too long ago. This was in early February, so about a month ago. And then as the markets got worse, there's been sell-off, and then earnings were disappointing. So a lot of people, let me put it this way. A lot of people probably didn't know what they were buying, when they were buying here, when they were buying here, when they were buying here. And obviously, if you bought this stock at $10 and then saw it go all the way to $3, you're very disappointed. But that's why it's so important to do your research and understand what you're buying and understand the financials and the underlying assets of a company. We've known for, if you really dug into the numbers, that these earnings were potentially not something that Big Bear AI was going to be able to deliver on. We also know that some of the recent contracts from Big Bear AI have happened during 2025. So the Q1 2025 should potentially show more revenue and more potentially good financial indicators. So what did I do today? Well, I backed up the truck. If people want to give me Big Bear AI for under $4 in this market, I will load up, and I will keep loading up. Anything under $4 to me is a fantastic buying opportunity to build a position in a promising company who has contracts with the Navy, the Army, who's in airports already as a company that's a partner. They have Palantir, Border Patrol, they have Decision Intelligentes, Model Solutions, and they are in airports. They will be used for the US military. Here's what I think. I think that it's a great opportunity. And as always, everyone, do your own research. So, all right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that analysis. That is all I have for you today. It's been a rough few weeks in the market, but it has created some incredible potential entry points on a lot of stocks. So I'm going to do my best to cover those opportunities. And if you enjoy the content that I'm providing, please consider leaving a like or subscribe if I've earned it. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.